Electrical experts in Ondo State caution against dangers of building under power lines. Ondo Head of Service seeks support of Osrc Media Group to reposition public service. NUJ urges restraint after NBC clamps down on broadcast stations over non-renewal of broadcast licenses. And from the foreign scene, Ukraine war on global food prices top agenda as UN Guterres meets Zelensky and Turkey's Erdogan.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on the news tonight. Oluwatoyin Omodara is my name. To reduce the risk and hazard associated with siting structures along power lines, the Nigerian Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, Accra chapter, in collaboration with the Ondo State Ministry of Energy, Mines and Mineral Resources, has organized a public sensitization and awareness lecture for all operators of public space. The one-day public lecture is to educate them on the need to be cautious and avoid operations along high-tension lines for their safety. Joy Piles reports that the program was held at the premises of the Ondo State Ministry of Infrastructure, Land and Housing.
The Nigerian Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers is a division of the Nigerian Society of Engineers engaged in advising government, industry and commercial establishments connected with electrical and electronics engineering on relevant matters concerning professional practice and community safety, and to sensitize the public on the dangers attached to building structures and engaging in socio and economic activities under power lines. The Accra chapter of the Institute collaborated with the Ondo State Ministry of Energy, Mines and Mineral Resources to organize a public sensitization and awareness lecture for all operators of public space. In his welcome address, the chairman of the Institute, Engineer Femi Ayekomilogbon, said the need to safeguard the lives of residents necessitated the sensitization.
Especially when sensitization and awareness are required. Therefore, we have partnered with the Ministry of Energy, Mines and Mineral Resources to sensitize the public on the needs to avoid building structures on power line right of ways to prevent the danger that will result in loss of life.
Giving his keynote address, the Commissioner for Energy, Mines and Mineral Resources, Engineer Razak Obi, represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Engineer Wemimo Ogunsomi, lauded the organizers of the program for prioritizing the safety of residents of the state, adding that fatality can be prevented if the public religiously adhere to precautions and avoid activities close to electrical installations.
Researches have shown that there are life-threatening health consequences due to prolonged stay on our lines. The scars from such injuries and losses won't go away, but with careful planning, prevention and constant sensitization, many future tragedies can be averted.
Delivering lectures on the dangers of erecting structures along power line rights of ways, the guest lecturers, Engineer Sunday Okedele and Stephen Bolawole, harped on the consequences of siting structures under power lines.
For example, cancer of the blood, low sperm counts, restlessness, anxiety, and a lot of things that people does not know that carry them to the hospital, and all because they have their trade under the right of way.
We recorded this casualty in Ileoluji. About 5 children born of the same parent died as a result of cable snap. Nobody is expecting that, and nobody will know when the cable will snap.
Chairman Osrc Media Group, Mr. Kunle Adebayo, represented by the head of news, Orange FM, Mr. Akinwumi Abodunde, said the media organization will collaborate with the institute to educate the public on the subject matter.
I can assure you that as a media organization, we will put all our eyes into this matter going forward and speak about it.
Participants called for enforcement from government to stamp out the ugly trend. High points of the event is the presentation of certificates to attendees at the program. Joy Pius, Osrc News.
The Ondo State Media Group says it will support in any way necessary to drive to reposition the state public service for optimal performance. The media group's chairman, Mr. Kunle Adebayo, gave the assurance while playing host to the new head of service, Mr. Kayode Ogundele, at the Osrc Media Village. Osrc's Zahid Aribisala reports that the head of service believes the transformation of the media group can be replicated in the public service. The report.
With praises to God, an elated chairman of Osrc Media Group, Mr. Kunle Adebayo, welcomed the new Ondo State Head of Service, Mr. Kayode Ogundele, to the headquarters of the media outfit. Mr. Adebayo said the reason for his happiness was the appointment of Mr. Ogundele, who he noted contributed to the reform of the Osrc Media Group at the advent of this administration with an honest, diligent and dispassionate approach.
Our Head of Service today is a perfect example that good days can never fade. We decided to look for one man. I didn't know him, but we said we needed an expert in personnel management, a man who could be extremely diligent, who could be dispassionate, and who would make sure we give us what will stand for us as our integrity. And then we looked around, and one way or the other, I think the then secretary of the panel said, I know one man. And then mentioned him. And he came, very gentle, smiling, and then we said, oh, God, this is our problem, this is what we need to do, please advise us. It was a record time. When we gave that assignment, we didn't give a date. We didn't give a timeline. You might have forgotten, sir. You gave us a report in 10 days. And he met every standard. Every this man met them. And when we had that report, we knew we had succeeded.
The chief executive, while assuring him of the media group's support in his new assignment, intimated the head of service on the ongoing process to position the state-owned stations for optimal performance.
In 1 year, the relocation of Orange FM here will be saving the state government 225 million naira. That is smart work. That is cohabitation. And that is the fulcrum of what is happening here now. And we think that in the next 3 weeks, as I have said, this corporation should be fully together so that we can service the state and our country all together.
Mr. Ogundele said the transformation of Osrc Media Group under the current management was expected.
The efficiency, the productive nature of what we're seeing coming out of Osrc Group today shows clearly that the seed that was sown then, when they started steering the ship of Osrc Group, the seed that was sown then is gradually bringing forth fruit in abundance. And I can see that in terms of the quality of production from the Alalaye, Orange FM, as well as the TV. I can see it.
The number one public servant, however, wants the media group to help drive the message of a positive change in the public service.
Malaysia, Singapore, all these countries that we see now as Asian tigers, they built their economy, built that society through the instrumentality of the public service. And I want to believe that Ondo State Public Service can blaze the trail in that area. And that's why everywhere we're going now, we're leaving this message that you matter where you are, and you must prove that you matter in what you are doing.
As both parties cement ties for a new era in service delivery and excellence, the implementation of Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu's redeemed agenda and one administration crusade will no doubt get better. Zahid Aribisala, Osrc News.
Let's go for a break now. When we come back, we'll start with more stories on the news. Please stay with us.
Hey, this kid, how would you get someone? 1,000. We go watch play tire. Farabade now.
Madam, hello, brother, na 3,005. Ma fún yín ní owó pé káàdì Glo ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀rún 10,000. Oh yeah. Bring your phone. Ha! 10,000.
1,000 naira credit. Now you are to 10,000.
No. All of us don't know about Glo Berekete. Ní ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá nísìnyí.
Ṣé o ti gbọ́? Ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá ló máa gbà lórí iyekíye tó o bá rà sórí ohun ìpè Glo Berekete 10 times rẹ.
I told you. Now what go tell?
All right, you're welcome back. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook, OSRC TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. Now to the rest of the bulletin. President Muhammadu Buhari says he has directed that the Osrc white paper report be subjected to immediate review for the federal government to implement its general recommendation. Buhari, who revealed that the review is about to be completed, said its implementation would bring some fundamental changes to the structure of the civil service. According to a statement by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, Buhari said these when he received the Central Working Committee of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria at the State House in Abuja. Submitted in 2011, the Osrc report has been a subject of controversy as it proposes, among other things, the merging and outright scrapping of over 263 government agencies. It also proposed that the law establishing the National Salaries and Wages Commission be repealed and its functions taken over by the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Responsibility Commission. These, it said, would save the government 2 billion naira. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has insisted on the payment of the salary backlog to lecturers, maintaining that without the move, unfinished academic sessions should be forgotten. President of the union, Professor Emmanuel Shudeke, explained that though public universities have been shut since February, the lecturers should be paid since they have to teach to make up for time lost during the closure. Oshudeke was speaking following the government's insistence on non-payment of lecturers over the industrial action. The National Broadcasting Commission has revoked the licenses of broadcast stations indebted to it. The stations, which are 52 in number according to the NBC, have failed to pay their outstanding debts in contravention of the NBC Act. According to the Commission's Director General, Balarabe Ilela, the affected stations have been given 24 hours to shut down operations or abide by the necessary requirement. Ilela said broadcast stations that are not affected should renew their licenses for their current durations within the next 30 days to avoid sanctions. 22 state stations have been affected by the revocation, and there are concerns that the shutdown of their operations will be a threat to national security while undermining the right of the public in these states to adequate information on issues, government policies and actions, given their role as a veritable tool of governance. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Union of Journalists has described the decision by the National Broadcasting Commission to revoke the licenses of 52 broadcast stations nationwide over indebtedness was ill-advised. The national president of the NUJ, Chris Isiguzo, in a statement said the revocation of licenses at this critical time of insecurity in the country appears to be a decision taken without careful, proud deliberation, consultation, or counsel. Isiguzo said while the union regrets the inability of the broadcast stations to fulfill their obligations to NBC in view of dwindling resources, cautioned against such large-scale clampdown in disregard to security issues and the attendant consequences. He called on NBC to exercise restraint in consideration of national security and allow for more dialogue and consultation to find a better way of dealing with the situation. The Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, Ondo State Branch, has inaugurated a new set of leaders to steer the affairs of the professional body for the next 2 years. The investiture of a new chairman, Oloruntoba Idris, and others was graced by the body's national president, John Bula Mayevbo, and well-meaning individuals in Accra, the Ondo State capital. Omori Olangbeji reports that Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu was represented at the event by Commissioner for Lands, Housing and Infrastructure, Raimi Aminu.
It was a gathering of professionals and government functionaries at the investiture of Oloruntoba Idris as the 15th chairman of Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, Ondo State Branch. Alongside other executive members, the inauguration was conducted by the second vice president of the industry, Mr. Bature Ali.
Do solemnly swear and affirm.
Congratulating the new executives, National President of the Institute, John Bol Amayevu, charged them to put in their best, noting that the strength of the professional body lies on the success of state branches.
All of them must work together, and just like as the guest speaker said, the welfare of our members is very key. The capacity of our member is also very key. So I will advise them that for the next 2 years, they should devote their time to the betterment and growth of the profession in the state and the country.
Chairman of the event and Ondo State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Femi Agagu, promised desirable support for the new administration to achieve a desired goal.
I will continue to do the bit that I can do to support the institution within the limits of my ability and within limited resources that are available to me.
Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, who was represented by Commissioner for Lands, Housing and Infrastructure, Raimi Aminu, reiterated the commitment of his administration to support estate surveyors in land management in the state.
I want to place it on record that estate valuers play a meaningful and vital role in the land administration. That is one of the reasons why our administration accorded land officer pride of place among other professionals in the ministry.
Outgoing chairman Laure Filani said the journey over the past 4 years was challenging, but was able to skate through with the help of God and the support of members.
I hereby appeal to every member of the branch to continue giving the incoming administration their full support so that the branch can work together to lift up our profession.
Accepting a new responsibility, the new chairman, Oloruntoba Idris, lauded the good work of the immediate past executives and pleaded for joint efforts to make his vision at moving the body beyond its present level a success.
Have hit the ground running, knowing that 2 years in such a short time, we have made up our minds to lead the branch much better than we met it. On that note, we wish to let you know that we have a number of strategies in place which we shall strive to execute, God helping us. We trust that you will cooperate with us in achieving these stated objectives and crave more of your support to make our branch enviable.
High points of the event was a lecture by a legal practitioner, Olabanjo Ayinake, an award presentation to dignitaries, including Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, for their contributions towards nation building. The executives are expected to steer the affairs of the industry in Ondo State for the next 2 years. Omori Olahungbiji, Osrc News.
The field within the People's Democratic Party (PDP) remains unsettled as reconciliation efforts between the camp of the presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar and that of Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike continues to drag. What does this portend for the country's leading opposition party heading into the 2023 general election? Osrc's Zaid Aribsala spoke with some leaders of the party, including the former National Vice Chairman, Dr. Eddie Olafeso.
The fence-mending process in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is far from reaching the desirable height. The dust raised from the decision of the presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar to pick Delta State's governor Ifeanyi Okowa remains unsettled, a situation that has pitched members of the party in different camps. Rivers State's governor, Nyesom Wike, who enjoys support of some stakeholders, is not hiding his displeasure, fueling uncertainties about the unity of the party heading into next year's election.
See the statements he made. So many lies were told. And then he said, I should not react to some of those issues. That would not be fair. Assuming today I'm not alive, obviously what they have said will be accepted as the truth.
I think Wike has a good fight because you must fight for the interest of your people. You know, he's already faced to some people. At least he came second with a very reasonable number of votes at the poll, at the primary election. So you know that he's already protecting the interests of those that voted for him and the leaders that were able to canvass those votes for him. So he's already protecting their interest, and they felt that it's Wike they could trust that can always protect their interest. So that is the only issue that is happening in the party.
Former National Vice Chairman of the PDP, Dr. Eddie Olafeso, says he has chosen to look away from the issue and focus on selling the party's candidates to Nigerians.
For me, the crisis of Governor Wike and the presidential candidate are things between brothers, and on a round table that will be put behind us. And I think everybody involved in that, which is no crisis to me, in the misunderstanding, are equally desirous for a better Nigeria. While we continue to resolve issues that affect individuals and all that, our focus is on 2023 general election, ensuring that a new Nigeria is born out of the People's Democratic Party's government that will be formed immediately after the presidential election.
Head of Public Relations in the office of the PDP candidate, Alaba Yusuf, exudes confidence that all knotty issues will be resolved.
They say the enemy of your enemy is your friend, right? But there's no reason, if you listen to Governor Wike, he has invested so much in the party that he goes nowhere. And he has said he stands like a rock of Gibraltar. And that's it. And we know, all I'm saying, everybody talks about self-worth, which he deserves, which he should be given, which he will be given.
Reconciliation efforts between both camps halt brick walls on different occasions, but for political watchers, one thing is sure: the People's Democratic Party must enter the 2023 election united, else a house divided against itself may find it difficult to stand. Sahid Aribisala, Osrc News.
The police in Ondo State has paraded 15 armed robbery and kidnapping suspects alleged to have been unleashing terror on residents of the state. While parading the suspects at the command headquarters in Akure, the Commissioner of Police Oyeyemi Oyediro said 8 of them were armed robbery suspects, while 7 were arrested for alleged kidnapping. He said 6 others have been arrested for suspected murder, while 4 persons were arrested for fraud. The CP further said that another armed robbery incident was reported on the 4th of August after one person was attacked along the Owo-Benin Expressway near Molege by the hoodlums who were on motorcycles and stole from him 2.4 million naira. He said upon interrogation, the suspects confessed to the crime. According to the Commissioner of Police, the paraded suspects will soon be arraigned in court. Oyediro further noted that items recovered from the suspects were 1 AK-47 rifle, 3 locally made cut-to-size barrel guns, 1 double-barreled gun, 5 live cartridges, 2 face masks, 2 jackknives, among other dangerous weapons. And to the foreign scene, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has held talks with his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan and the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in the western Ukraine city of Lviv. The war's effect on global food prices and risks to Europe's largest nuclear power plant were high on the agenda.
personnel should be withdrawn from the plant. Further deployment of forces or equipment to the site must be avoided. The area needs to be demilitarized. And we must tell it as it is. Any potential damage to Zaporizhia is suicide.
I personally believe that the war will come to an end at the negotiating table. It all comes down to finding the fastest and easiest way to the negotiating table.
There is no trust towards the Russian Federation. I believe that in this diplomatic window there is Russian weaponry. That's why I'm surprised to hear that they'd be ready for some kind of peace. People that kill, rape every day, shoot cruise missiles onto our peaceful cities and infrastructure cannot want peace. That's why, first of all, they must withdraw their troops from our territory, and only then.
And now to sports. It is 93 days to go until the World Cup kicks off in Qatar. The tournament is taking place in European winter for the first time. The Premier League has never had a break like this, and the prospect of it has made managers very unhappy.
I'm not against it because I know that we've got to have competitions elsewhere around the world.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. It's not really fair on the players.
The last thing I want is for our momentum to be broken.
It's nice, to be honest. I think by then we'll probably be in a relegation battle.
I was not angry at all before I came in, but when we start talking about it, I really get angry. Everybody knows it's not right. This World Cup happens at the wrong moment for the wrong reasons.
And physically on the guys who go to World Cup, so they will come back drained, physically drained, but also mentally, like with big success, with big emotions, positive emotions, or huge disappointment.
It's a quick turnaround from the last Premiership game on the Sunday to when we play, so we won't need to top them up with regards to training sessions and look at what minutes they've played. That's the biggest difference for us.
Before we go on the news, another look at the major highlight. The Nigerian Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, in collaboration with the Ondo State Government, has sensitized the public on dangers of building on the power lines. The Ondo State Head of Service, Kayode Ogundele, has sought the support of the Osrc Media Group to reposition the public service. The Nigerian Union of Journalists has called for restraint after the National Broadcasting Commission revoked the licenses of 52 broadcast stations over non-renewal. And from the foreign scene, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has met with Ukraine President Zelensky and Turkey's Erdogan on solutions to soaring global food prices. And that's it on the news tonight. Thanks for watching. Good evening.